What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-hosts. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers back in the day. He was all swag. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got the NFL draft analyst, guru, enthusiast, whatever you want to call him. You can catch all his work on NBCSportsChicago.com and the My Teams app. He's Glenn Morgan. He's our GM. Gentlemen, it's been a while. How you guys doing?
Been a while. Doing all right.
Eager to get back at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been over a month. A lot of stuff has happened.
Summertime.
Yes, sir. It happens, man. We I think we needed a break too, man. Just for us, But we're back in the saddle here, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But let's start off with the Chicago Bulls, who have made some moves here in the last month since we talked. I think the most important, obviously, is the re-signing of Zach LaVine to the max deal. So he's back for 5 years, and I think we left the season wanting that to happen. Didn't know if it was going to happen because he wanted, word was he wanted to actually go through the free agent process.
Right.
Now he says he didn't, but I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah. No, I think a little love out there. See what the
there's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. I think everybody, you have that right. That's collectively a bargain for you to go through free agency. That's I think there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just glad that he decided to come back to Chicago, because I don't know if there's another team out there or another situation that will work quite like the Bulls for him.
New York might have, in a weird kind of way.
Who?
New York Knicks.
The Knicks?
The Knicks.
In terms of, granted, you're in a tough spot because that division is pretty tough. But in terms of more notoriety, advancing his brand a little bit, New York landing a legitimate all-star, and you never know what him being there might do in terms of attracting other talent. They may see that, okay, the Knicks are for real, or the Knicks are going in this direction.
I don't think the Knicks was ever even on the radar, though.
No, I mean, they may not have been, but I'm just saying, as far as like what you're saying, like where else does he fit where he can come in and be the guy and it advances his brand, and he doesn't,
I get what you mean, though. Yeah, I get exactly what you mean.
It's tough. I mean, there's some other teams, but they're more smaller market. You know what I mean? He can't go to Phoenix because he's redundant there. You don't want to. LA, it's too much mess. It's too messy. The Lakers are too. I mean, the saying the Lakers are more messy than the Knicks are saying something, but the Lakers are kind of messy right now. And the Clippers, that's right. I mean, now if there were a Seattle franchise, I could see him maybe going back home. If there's a franchise that had moved out there.
I was worried about Portland, being that it's close to Seattle.
That's close, right? And I think as far as
you have the option to team with Dame.
Oh yeah, I think athletically or playing wise, I think it's a fit. But you be from Chicago to Portland, okay, yeah.
I think that was the one I was most worried about.
Okay.
Was him flirting with the Trailblazers.
I honestly didn't think he was going nowhere unless the Bulls indicated to him that they wasn't 100% sure on re-signing him. I just didn't see him giving up that 5th year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I didn't see that at all. So I kind of believe that he didn't. I'm not gonna say I believe he didn't entertain. I believe when he said he had no intent of leaving, because I don't think he was going to ever give up that 5th year to nobody. If anything, it would have been a sign and trade. And the way the offseason went, I didn't see that even becoming a possibility either. So I was like, my only issue was it felt like once the Durant news came out, and it was said that LaVine would resign, and it was like, okay, why is it taking so long for him to resign? What is going on here? Like, are they trying to work out something to get Durant? I'm like, look, we missing out on other people that we could sign LaVine back and we could go get somebody else. Like, what are we doing? Like, so that's the only thing that was frustrating me. Like, okay, he said he was coming back. Like, what is taking so long to just get this done with? Like, and move on to other pieces. So that was my only thing with it.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was too worried about it. I know from the Bulls end, what else were they going to do? There was no one out there realistically that they could get that is on a Zach LaVine, an all-star caliber level like that.
Right.
So I wasn't too worried about that. I was worried when, there were the grumblings talking about, well, now it's DeMar's team. And I was hoping that wasn't his mindset.
Right.
Just with how last season played out. But it's his he's the highest paid player on that roster now. So it's Zach's show now. So yeah, I'm excited about that. The Bulls also, while we were gone, they signed Goran Dragic, which to me, I don't. It brings up more of what's up with Lonzo, I think, than anything else.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Will Lonzo be healthy enough to come into training camp ready to go? That was my first thought. And then the drafting of Dalen Terry, guard out of Arizona.
A lot of guards
on this roster still. As of right now, Kobe's still here.
The
sumo, yeah. You got
Ball Bandit, Caruso,
yes, that was who I was coming out with next. There's a lot of guards on this team. Not to mention Zach and DeMar.
Is considered a guard?
DeRozan considered a forward.
Yeah. He slides.
He's a 2-3.
Yeah, he's a wing player.
The game is so weird nowadays, though. Because I saw guys that's shorter than Dalen Terry that got drafted listed as forwards, and he's listed as a guard. I'm like, this guy 6'4", listed as a forward. Dalen Terry 6'7", listed as a guard. Like, it's just weird in the NBA nowadays. The titles are whatever they want to give.
But I thought, I thought they were going to. I thought big man was going to be the pick, so I found it interesting that they went with a guard / wing player.
Well, don't forget they got the European guy,
Simonovic. Yeah.
So maybe that's why they didn't feel they needed to draft one, because they kind of already had him, and he apparently supposedly put on more bulk, got a little bigger, a little stronger.
Had a good summer league.
In the summer league.
I saw some of his play. A really good passer. I mean, like even passing on the move. Like, as far as big men passing, let's say he makes the squad or he's on the squad, the active squad. I'd say he might be the best big man passer on the team. And Vooch does some nice stuff, but this dude looks like he is like a lot more clever with his passes. Like, I saw him do some interior bounce pass, into the post on the move. Not just from a standing post position. He was actually, maneuvering and made a nice bounce pass. I'm like, oh man, that's one of those Tony Kukoc type kind of skills. He had some of those kind of pass. He did like a behind the back pass on a break. So I was like, okay, he got that European passing flair, with that kind of stuff. So maybe he might. I don't know how aggressive he is, when it comes to playing real NBA players or more established NBA players. But you add him and Drummond, you get a little more length, if nothing else. And Drummond definitely is a better rebounder, and you get more aggression, off the backboard and a more defensive presence. And Simonovic seems like I'm not saying he's one of those pass block or one of those shot blockers that makes you embarrassed because he's blocking a shot like the Dikembe used to do, but he's an effective, arms getting away and kind of alter your type of shot blocker. So with his length, I think he gets you more with his length than his power, so to speak. That looks interesting. I don't know what all these guards. To me, it seems like a trade is imminent. I just don't know who's getting traded.
Right. Well, that's my next question was: do you think this is this roster set and ready to go? Yeah.
No.
I definitely.
I don't.
I definitely see some moves being made. I think the Dalen Terry pickup is also what do I want to say? Something to wake up Pat Will as well, I think. Mm-hmm. I think one thing I love about this kid, I ain't seen much of him, but look, his motor seems high. And he looks to have personality, like I always say. You need somebody that's just gonna go out there and just be rah-rah, man. Like, and that's what he looks like to me.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that excited me about the pick when I started looking him up. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing him in his highlights getting clapping on deep. Like like I want to see stuff like that. We too nice, man. That just bothers me. We're way too nice. Way too nice. And we need some personality. And so I think he brings that.
Yeah, that's what they say about that's what they say about our podcast. We're too nice.
I think we've had some hot moments.
Nah, I'm teasing.
Wait. They weren't listening during Bear season.
Right. They wouldn't. GM had some epic rants on it.
So I hope it's not, because I almost feel like we're running it back to a certain point from last season. And like I said, the Andre Drummond signing is significant. I didn't realize he's only 28.
Really? I thought he was 42.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm joking. I thought he's like about 32, 33.
So maybe right. So maybe
28 is young.
Maybe he can, find a some type of fountain of youth or something there, considering that he's still relatively young.
Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna take what you said as far as lighting a fire. It could be the kind of thing to push Vooch in practice. Same thing like Terry be pushing Pat in practice. I'm gonna get this out of you one way to either I'm gonna take your spot or you're gonna keep me from taking your spot. And if you don't keep me from taking your spot, you got to come with it, because I'm gonna come with it every day. Yeah, so maybe Drummond is, like you said. I didn't know he realized that young. So I
didn't either.
Yeah, he's Vooch is older than him then, right?
Yeah, Vooch is in his 30s.
Yeah. So that could be something.
I'm just hoping it's not, and it should be an upgrade of Tristan Thompson. I'm just hoping it's not just
who
slide and fix. Exactly. Yeah, but
he's definitely an upgrade. He should be.
Should be.
He's a little more offense than that. He can actually run the floor. Tristan's better days of running are behind him. He kind of
not that. Man, he came in. I actually liked what Tristan did when he came in.
Tried to do initially.
Just in terms of trying to get this team's head right going into the playoffs. Because I don't think they were mentally prepared, and there were things that he did just to try to say, hey, you got to get you guys' heads in the game.
Then they realized that he has no offensive skills, and why is he talking?
Man, you know what?
He wasn't wrong though. He wasn't wrong.
The move I try to make.
What's that?
I try to figure out a way to get Pat Bev here.
I wouldn't mind that.
Bring him back home.
I try to figure out a way. Now, granted,
but isn't him and Caruso
that's what I was about to say. Do you want him and Caruso?
Yeah.
On the same team, because they're kind of like the same, but
yes, I do.
Epic. Put them two on the floor together. Ooh-wee. Somebody backcourt gonna be mad as hell.
Yes. And not only that, but because of the way they play, they lend themselves to potentially being injured because they play all out. So if one's down, I got the other one. I'm not missing. Like Caruso brings a different. They're not quite redundant because Caruso is a little more offensive oriented in terms of.
He can knock down some shots. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Bev can a little bit too, but I mean, in terms
I
of
think Pat shoots better than Caruso, honestly.
Right?
Does he?
I think, I wouldn't disagree. I say Caruso in terms of helping the offense facilitate the offense better. Bev doesn't necessarily do that as well, and I think that's where they differ. And Caruso's a little bit taller, I think, too, right? He's like about an inch or two taller. But like you said, man, you got some. You put him and DeSumo and Caruso, and you want to go fast, get you a small fast lineup that you get the dogs out and you get the jump. What's the dunker? What's his name?
Derrick Jones.
Derrick Jones. You got some length out there, and then Terry. It may not be a big group, but all of a sudden, man, these dudes, they're just after you. You can just send them in waves. That's the other thing too. You now you can send them in waves. You can mix
the way teams want to play. It's going either you gonna try to run and gun with them, or you gonna try to slow it down and go big to force us to make the sub.
Right.
And most teams ain't trying to do that now.
Nope. Because it's hard to find it's hard to find bigs that talented that can do the stuff that you want them to do in that regard.
They would remind me of the Warriors
before
that beat Dallas.
Yeah.
That beat Dallas. The We Believe Warriors.
Right.
Wasn't that what they was called?
Yeah.
That was the one with Barry Davis was there and
Richardson,
Steven Jackson,
yeah,
Matt Barnes, all them.
Yeah, they come at you in waves, man. I do. I feel you on that one. B bringing in Pat Bev back to Chicago too. Man,
he'd really be acting a fool.
Exactly. Exactly. But you know what? The team you wouldn't have that problem with the nice guys anymore.
Definitely
no,
not.
You wouldn't.
And the rest of the team would up their ante because he just by his presence alone. And then Caruso be like, yeah, what he said. Just I could see, and then Zach and DeRozan, they don't have to worry about the defense as much, or even like the mentality of the team being aggressive and attacking. Those guys could really more so focus on, doing what they do in terms of scoring. I mean, I think it can help delineate some positions a little bit more in terms of your role playing. It can definitely help out. The more I think about that, the more I like that. Now, hey, we can let Dragic go as far as I'm concerned. If you bring in Pat Bev, but I know you need somebody to run the offense. But I mean, Dragic doesn't spin my wheels too much.
I'm sorry, I don't know, man. Remember when number one dunked on his head? That's the only memory I have of Goran Dragic. I don't think I need anything else.
He did all right with the Heat for a while, but that's again. What's rocking like 36?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Last thing, summer league in general. Is there anything you can learn from that?
How aggressive, I don't say how committed, but what kind of effort am I going to get from my players? Like watching Terry play. I first when we got the pick, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, another guard. Watching him play, I was like, okay, he gets after. I can see him being instituted defensively more so than looking anything from offensively. But I like his length. I like his attitude, and I learned that from looking at some of the stuff during the summer league. I wouldn't have gotten that necessarily just from him playing in college, because it was a different role he was facilitating at that point. Here, he knows. It's like, all right, kid, you coming in, you ain't the guy. You're not even the guy next to the guy. You're not even the guy next to the guy next to the guy. You're that other guy that's next to the other guy. So where are you going to commit? Like Jimmy Butler, where are you going to make your impact first? Where are you going to commit yourself first, and then build from there? And it seems like he already has that mindset. But I'm going to let you know I can score too. But I'm going to play hard defense through the summer league. If you can play hard defense in the summer league, you're going to play that in the NBA. The summer league, you don't have to necessarily. You can play with your peers. You can probably get buy-ins on stuff. But if you're really showing you're all out, I think you can see what kind of effort I'm going to get. That's what I think you can tell. To answer your question, I think that's what I can tell from looking at summer league stuff.
Over under for the Bulls total wins 42.5 right now.
Over. Way over, way over.
Man, that's how they feel.
That's disrespectful. Can I bet on that now?
I think you can. Yeah.
It was, which one was that? Is that points bet or who's that?
Points bet.
Yeah, let me jump on that before I go to sleep tonight.
By the way, that said, I think their numbers are a little low. Golden State's at 50.5.
What?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think I might take that bet like right now.
Yeah.
They're gonna win 50 games.
I would jump. Yeah, they probably win like 55 or 56. 55, yeah, between 55 and 58 games for Golden State.
Just putting it out there for all you degenerate gamblers out there. That might be a bet you want to take. Hey, let's move on to the Bears, who haven't made many moves.
Baylor Bears?
This offseason. No, not the Baylor Bears. Not the Cal Bears. We're talking about the Chicago Bears.
Oh, Chicago. Sure. I heard about them once. Read about those guys.
N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, former first-round pick of the Patriots, traded to the Bears for a seventh-round pick. Obviously, I mean, I have no issue with that seventh-round pick. If it's a hit, great. If not, we move on, you know. But Glenn, I think you probably did a write-up about this kid a couple of years ago. Is there anything left there, you think?
Yes, actually, it's before I started. I think it's a year before I started writing.
Okay.
In terms of the mock draft stuff, but yeah, I think there's a lot. I think he's kind of got a bit of a raw. I won't say a raw deal, but I think his image or how we perceive him, I think is not really fair or accurate. I think it's a bit skewed. I think based off of some of the obnoxious, how can I say it, some of the crazy numbers we've seen from some of these wide receivers, guys like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson just putting up eye-popping, all-world type kind of numbers, and some other receivers having big numbers like that too, even as rookies. We think, okay, if you don't do that, then you're not good. I'm like, well, their situations are different. You got to take the situation into account. And when he comes in, when Harry comes in his rookie year, Brady's still quarterbacking, but the offense isn't quite the same. Part of the reason why he was drafted is because they needed some wide receivers. And he had some injuries, and he started a little bit later. You know, he didn't get the full training camp thing, and he was injured kind of off and on that year. And he's a rookie, so it's going to be on a not good team, you know, so to speak, not a great team. So it's going to be some inconsistency. Not only that, but Brady's kind of like the person, like, I'm only going to throw to who I trust, you know. So I don't trust you yet. You got to earn my trust. You know, you're a rookie coming in to a guy who's, you know, the GOAT at that sport. You got to earn his trust. You know, you need to be there like every practice. You can't miss anything. And even then, it's going to be difficult. So that was kind of, I won't say a wasted year, but that was a fluctuating kind of season. And then Brady leaves. So now you come to season where you have 3-4 different quarterbacks. You know,
who were the QBs there in 20?
Cam Newton came in. You had I can't remember who else was there. Was it Hoyer? Was he still there? They had like two.
Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, and they had somebody else that was quarterbacking before Cam came in. So it was a mishmash. And then, you know,
was it Brissett?
No. It was.
Colts.
I know. Dang, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't give me the line, so I can't quite recall. But it was just a mishmash of quarterbacks, and Cam struggled clearly. You know, he wasn't the Cam that we knew, and that's going to make your season off. And then they're asking you to do different things, because now, since Cam's there, you find yourself as a receiver blocking more downfield than you probably would have thought that you would have been doing. And then you're still trying to figure out and make your mark. Not only that, but then they drafted another wide receiver, Jacoby. I can't remember. Out of NC State. Jacoby Myers out of NC State, and he had some early success. He kind of found a rhythm with whoever was quarterbacking at the time. So now one guy finds a rhythm. You're still trying to find your match. So you're, again, is it you? Is it the situation? It's probably a lot of mitigating factors. And then you come into last year, this past season, and you got a rookie quarterback. And so early on, they're doing everything they can to protect him. They brought him about, by him, I'm talking about the quarterback, Mac Jones. They being the organization, I thought, brought him in the way you should bring a rookie quarterback in. You know, make things so he has success, unlike what the Bears did here. But part of that is short passes. He's not really pounding downfield. And there are times when you see Harry, there are times when he makes some plays. You can see some of his NFL highlights. You're like, dude, this dude can get up and get the ball. He's got good height. He's not a burner. He's got good length. He's good height. He's got a good catching radius. He is a physical wide receiver. He can get off press coverage, and he's good in the red zone. And he had some of those kind of plays, but he didn't have 1,000 yards. Well, Mac Jones wasn't throwing, 60 times a game or 40 times a game.
Hey, he threw 3 times one time.
One time he only threw 2 times, and they won that game.
And they won.
So again, you're talking. He's had 3 different quarterbacks at least, probably 4 or 5. So what kind of rhythm are you building? And he's been asked to do different things, and he's had to try and figure out what he's doing. So I think the Bears did him a favor by getting him out of New England. I think New England did him a favor by letting him go and saying, okay, this wasn't working for you here. We still going to give you a chance. You're a young dude. So I don't think he's done anything to where he's in bad habits or developed bad habits. I think he hasn't been able to develop rapport. Now, we've seen other receivers move around and become borderline Hall of Fame wide receivers. We saw that with Jimmy Smith and Keaton McCardle when they both went to Jacksonville. And Jacksonville was a new franchise. They
wait, where were they before?
Jimmy Smith was the Cowboys. He was the Cowboys. I think when they won their last Super Bowl, I think he was on that team.
Okay.
Jimmy Smith was the Cowboys for like 3 or 4 years, and he just injuries and what have you. He just never quite was able to get a footing there. And Keenan McCardle had been with Washington. He had been with a couple of other teams. I think Cleveland. He was Cleveland, Washington, and somebody else before he came to Jacksonville. And those guys.
I just assumed that they were always there. And
no,
wow,
not at all, not at all.
I did not know that. All right.
And thankfully, fortunately for them, Jacksonville was a new franchise, so an expansion team. So it gave a lot of people an opportunity to play. It didn't. And those guys are clearly those are the 2 best wide receivers in Jacksonville history.
Yeah, they got them to a AFC title game, right?
Yeah, they lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
The only team they couldn't. They lost to the Titans 3 times that year.
And then they beat Denver in Denver, right?
Yeah, because Shannon Sharp always talks about that game.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
he always talks about that game.
Yeah. And they beat the crap. They embarrassed the Dolphins. Marino, I think that was Marino's last game. They embarrassed.
That was the 61-7 game.
Yep,
I remember that. Yeah.
So those guys. So my point is, sometimes you don't really know because the situations, you have to look at everything. You can't just go off of just looking at numbers. Oh, this guy was crap. He only caught so many, he only has so many targets, or he only played so many games. Well, okay, why? What were the mitigating circumstances that happened, in that situation? So I think all that to say, I actually like them getting Harry for 7th round. That's fine. And we've been talking about we need receivers. Now you have a bigger target. He's like the tallest dude we have now. Before we had a couple of, some guys, 6 foot, one guy's a little bit tall, but the other guys are like scraping 6 feet. Now you got a legitimate tall target. You have an end zone threat. You have someone who's a red zone threat, and you have someone who can also help with your offense in terms of blocking downfield, something he did at New England. So we know he can do that. And if you go back to what Eberflus said a long time ago when he first got here, is that this season is going to be the emphasis, or a lot of the onus, I should say, is going to be on the running game. So now you got a guy who can help you in the running game, can help you with play action passing. That's a big enough target to help your wide receiver, or help your quarterback hit a wide receiver. As someone who can develop a rapport with somebody from scratch, starting out from scratch. And you did it early enough. You did it before you had training camp. So you did it early enough that you can see what you have here. And if it doesn't work out, it's just a 7th round pick.
Yeah. That's the key there.
So I like it. I think Dude was a beast at Arizona State. I think he can be good here, and I think in a weak NFC conference, I think he can definitely on a team that doesn't have a true number one. He can definitely find a place here, and nothing's going to make the wide receiver room a little more challenged.
I agree.
I think I like the fact that you got a bunch of guys that can do a lot to prove themselves this season. St. Brown from Green Bay, Pringle from Kansas City, Darnell Mooney, I think, has shown some things, but needs to prove that he can be a number one guy. Daz Newsome He was a rookie last year out of North Carolina. He's got something to prove. So yeah,
Cole Kmet too.
Cole Kmet, yeah, tight end, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, but the key thing that you just mentioned about the three, so N'Keal Harry, Pringle, St. Brown, all guys coming from winning organizations.
That's true too.
Granted, they weren't the top. They wasn't even the top two, maybe even three in the wide receiver room. But something can spark from those three guys from where they came from coming here. So that's an underrated piece that people are probably overlooking. That y'all got the Chiefs' fourth receiver, Patriots' fourth receiver, Green Bay third receiver. But guess what? Those guys have played with great quarterbacks. And got some knowledge.
And
other great receivers. Right. Other great receivers who were great. I mean, each probably not N'Keal.
Not N'Keal.
Not New England.
But we also said their philosophy. I mean, like we just mentioned, their quarterback won a game where he threw 3 passes. So it's a different type of philosophy in New England.
But structure and discipline.
Yeah, and then you have Devontae Adams and in Green Bay, and you have Kelsey and
Hill
and KC. So you're gonna be way down on depth charts. I mean, them guys are all-time greats. Right. But something can spark. I'm not saying it will, but I think a 7th round pick was well worth the gamble. Well worth the gamble. Absolutely. I don't even know if it's a gamble. 7th round pick. Shoot.
Yeah, the previous administration did a lot worse.
Right. I mean, we drafted Kevin White.
That's right.
First round.
Top 10 pick. And just think, if this does work out, if some of these guys do work out, let's say it's Equinemius, Pringle, and Harry do work out, and you've got Mooney and maybe Das is kind of your slot guy, doesn't mean you can't draft wide receiver next year. And now you get a top-notch wide receiver. Now you come in. Now you got like a legitimate, wide receiving group that poses mismatches or matchup, situations that defenses have to prepare for. Because now you got fast guys, you got guys that run the slot, you got guys that are red zone targets, guys that are blocking. It gives you some flexibility with how you want to run your offense and incorporate your passing game. So yeah, man, I think these guys, they're not doing it like some other teams where it seems like everything comes together. Like the Jets in Jacksonville the last couple of years drafted a lot of big name talent, and Miami this year got a lot of free agents and spent a lot of money. So the Bears aren't doing it like that at this point in time, but I think the way they're building it is building towards sustainability and not just flash and a dash. And so that's kind of how I'm seeing this now. This is being built for the long haul, but without sacrificing the dignity of playing football. I think you're going to see dignified football this season.
Well, I hope so. I'm not expecting much from this team, but I want to see competitive football this fall. That's all I can ask for.
We got all our draft picks coming now, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
If by all you mean a first round pick, yes.
Yeah.
we do have one next year, and that's why I mentioned wide receiver, because there are probably 3 wide receivers off the top of my head right now that no matter where the Bears finish, and when I say no matter where they finish, I expect them to be drafting within the top 10.
Top 10,
right? That one of those 3 worst receivers should be available. The most notable that I would love for them to get is the guy out of Ohio State, Jackson Nigla. But the kid, the Blitnikoff winner, just left Pittsburgh. He transferred to USC, Addison. So he's there. And there's another cat off the top of my head. I'm forgetting his name right now. But there are a lot. They're probably good 4 or 5 wide receivers, right now that look to be first round draft picks coming out. So
yeah, training camp starts in just a couple of weeks. Or actually next week.
No, next week.
Next week, yeah. 26.
We in
So
mid July.
It's hard to believe, man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
In mid-July.
So also while we were gone, the Bears basically told the city, yeah, we see your plan to revive Soldier Field. Yeah, we're not interested. Sorry. But the mayor's office came out and they say they want to put a dome on Soldier Field, which is probably the dumbest idea I think I've ever heard of. Because that's part of the issue, but not the full. That doesn't take care of all the issues that are going on with Soldier Field right now. You currently have the smallest stadium in the league. It only sits 61,000.
Something like that.
Smallest stadium in the league. If you want to build a LA Rams with a SoFi Stadium, the Cowboys have AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do that, the goal would be, I think, is to host a Super Bowl. You can't do that at Soldier Field. I don't care what you do, unless you knock it down and start all over, which that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question for you guys as residents of the city of Chicago, do you care if the Bears end up moving out to Arlington Heights?
No, I've never been to a Bears game. No way. I'll probably go then.
You go to check it out?
Yeah.
I mean, nostalgically speaking, a part of me would feel something's not quite right. It's like when the Sears Tower changed its name to the, what is it called?
The Willis Tower.
Exactly. It just it's like it doesn't feel the same.
That affected you? I don't even. It's still.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. Everybody talks about it's still the Sears Tower. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But I can call it the Sears Tower.
Right. Like I said, I couldn't remember what it was called. But my point is, it's like, wait, you mean it's not the Sears Tower anymore? It felt like, well, that's not right. And that's what I mean. It just feels like, well, the Bears not being Soldier Field, they're still going to be Chicago Bears. They're not going to change the name. They're still going to be in the Chicagoland area. It's not going to change that. But it's just going to feel a little different. Driving now, I won't bemoan the lack of traffic jams when I'm driving by and the Bears game.
Hey, it's a metro ride away, man.
Right. I'm just saying, I'm not going to bemoan the fact that there won't be any traffic. I mean, that, going by, if I'm on Lakeshore Drive and I'm going by.
He's talking about Lakeshore.
Oh, you're saying Lakeshore. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is I'm not going to miss that.
Well, the Chicago Fire play there, so they will have a tenant.
Yeah, no traffic.
No traffic for that. Okay.
Yeah, no traffic chance for that. So it's just going to be different. Like when you watch the game and you don't see the colonnade, it's Soldier Field. It's a little bit of that, but I can live. I'm okay. And putting a dome would be stupid, because now if you put a dome, then you got to tear up the field and make it fake field again, because you're not going to be able to keep the grass, because that grass wasn't built to be kept indoors like Atlanta or like the Arizona Cardinals have done. That's a different kind of grass that they have to have out there, because I think they're the only indoor stadium that has actual grass, and because the grass dies. The reason why domes didn't have grass is it's hard to keep the grass alive. Arizona was a different situation. You put the dome on, now you're talking more money. It was like, dude, look, I get, Mayor Lightfoot, that you're a sports fan, and I'm happy that you are, but this is like about 20 plus years. Yeah, it's just 20 years too late, man.
Remember, she came out, when the Bears first announced that they were looking at Arlington Heights. She came out all big and bad, like, it's not going to happen, and no, there's no chance of that. And we're not going to do anything for Soldier Field. They have a lease agreement, and blah blah blah. Yeah, that ended real quick. That softening came real quick. I thought it was silly to come out with that plan.
Yeah,
and she probably was doing it just to save face because of how she came out, originally with it, and. She wants to appease I'm sure there are people out there that don't want to see the Bears leave Soldier Field, or you leave Chicago. So trying to, appease them and tell, hey, I tried. I put out a plan, but they didn't want it. Still vote for me, please. Next year when the election comes.
Never look good when you're begging.
Well, she's doing that now. But yeah, it doesn't. When it happened, I was excited for it. I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions.
If they do it there.
The Detroit Lions for years were in Pontiac.
Yeah.
They were still the Detroit Lions, and then they moved back. So you never know. I mean, look,
the Cardinals are in Glendale. The Dallas Cowboys are
Arlington.
Is that Arlington? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Cardinals in Glendale or Peoria?
It's not Glendale.
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Is it Glendale or Peoria?
I thought that was Glendale.
I thought it was Glendale. Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was Glendale. Yeah.
The New York Giants and New York Jets play in New Jersey.
They play in New Jersey, exactly. So yeah, I think if this were 1975, it might make a difference.
SoFi is not even in LA, is it?
It's in Inglewood.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if this were the 1970s or 80s, maybe that might matter to Midwestern values. But I think in this day and age, we're like, look, can I get there? Are they still called the Chicago Bears?
Exactly.
I'm good.
Get the best land that's gonna give you the best opportunity to make something special.
Wait, you got more seats, so I can actually I can get off this 25-year waiting list and knock it down about 20 years. I got a shot. Yeah. Sorry, Mayor Lightfoot. That was like you said. That was just hilarious.
Yeah. Just a bad move. But yeah, if they go, they go. Hey,
yeah, kind of like Thor: Love and Thunder. Just a bad move.
Wow. By the way, I saw. I'm trying to catch up here. I saw Spider-Man: No Way Home, and I saw Doctor Strange.
Well, Spider-Man: No Way Home is probably that's the best MCU right now. Spider-Man: No Way Home, the best movie that I just phase for. Everything else is like, I haven't seen Love and Thunder yet. I just heard how bad it is, but yeah, it's just so far. It's like,
I like the Doctor Strange.
It was okay. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Sorry. I fell asleep on it.
Yeah, it was okay.
I fell asleep on the first Doctor Strange like 3 times.
What?
Before finally getting through it.
Oh my goodness.
Then I fell asleep on this one.
That was good.
Though there were some good surprises that I didn't expect as I was, I was waking up and saying, whoa. And then I go back to sleep.
Oh wow.
So we'll try it. We're gonna try it again at some point. But yeah. Just want to throw that out there. No problem. All right. Want to move to college football?
Yeah, speaking of throwing it out there.
Yeah.
The Big Ten threw out a big fishing line, right? Reeled in.
I woke up on what was it? It was 2 weeks ago?
Roughly, yeah.
2 weeks ago. I woke up and saw that USC and UCLA, saw the headline, USC and UCLA to the Big Ten. I honestly thought it was a joke. And I was like, yeah, right. Closed it, didn't even read the article, right? I knew that there's no chance, no shot of that happening. And then I saw more and more, things picking up on social media. Like, wait a minute, this is real.
It's real.
This is real. How does that work?
LA. So
that's the television market.
Yeah, man. I mean, you consolidated yourself across the continental United States. You got New York market with Rutgers. You got the DC market with Maryland. And you come Midwest, you got the Philly market.
Got with, Philly,
Penn State. And then you come to Chicago. And then you kick off those states that don't really matter when it comes to media, all the way to California. And you got, LA. I mean, New York, Chicago, LA. And then you throw in DC and Philly. It's like, really? Right. So that's crazy, man, because but with all that money, now potentially you're talking these teams. I'm sure we've all heard that maybe each team in the Big Ten can bring in $100 million a year. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to traveling, well, now you can see how they can afford to travel.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what
they can send the lacrosse team and the gymnastics team cross country.
Potentially. I mean, to me, maybe they do something where those teams don't necessarily travel, but when they meet up, maybe they break it off enough to where the East plays the East and the West teams that are West play West, so the travel isn't as much, and maybe meet together in a championship kind of situation.
But the closest Big Ten team to LA is Nebraska.
Nebraska, yeah, but Nebraska's
that's a long way, man.
I'm not saying it's not, but it's closer than New York. That's all I'm saying. It's close. It's closer than Pennsylvania. It's Nebraska, and Iowa, and Minnesota. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. But $100 million, they can figure it out.
But is it? So are we concerned for the other Midwest teams or the Big Ten, original Big Ten? Or are we concerned for the travel for LA? Because the other ones will be traveling.
Well, everybody's got to travel out there.
But yeah, you'll go out there once, but they'll be going
back and forth
half their season. You get what
that's
I'm saying?
true. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not really a big deal to the original Big Ten schools.
Not at all.
That's a trip that they damn near probably took anyway. You know,
well, yeah, you usually do.
Right.
You took that anyway. You just now probably not scheduled one of the non-conference teams.
Right.
That's out that way. You schedule a non-conference game more within your region.
Yep.
You know, and so, but it's for them though. That's the thing. But hey, they the ones want.
They're gonna have to take the 6-hour flight from LA to New Jersey for Rutgers and to Maryland.
That's in the cold. Don't forget the weather now too.
Yeah.
What?
I think USC has played. Has USC played Notre Dame in the cold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, they do. The college season is over. What, third week of November? It's down to the maybe the low 40s, high 30s.
I'm not saying every game every year, but they're going to be those games.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
Have a cold weather game.
Yes,
you're right.
It's going to be those games, and it may be back to back.
I said, but both of them play Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame play both USC and UCLA, or just
more USC.
I know USC for sure.
Yeah, more USC.
Okay,
but they've played them in the past, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's
not every year like SC though. SC Notre Dame is that's a rivalry.
Yeah,
that's a rivalry, right?
Yeah, that's a Shillelagh stick. That's a Shillelagh.
What happens with that? I guess.
That's a good question.
Notre Dame to the Big Ten? Question mark.
But they're in the ACC and they're the sports.
Right.
That can change.
Other sports. That can change. And that's in other sports, but it doesn't apply to football. And see, here's the thing with
can you be in two major conferences like that though?
No, you can only be
other schools do that though.
What you talking about, Willis?
Well, smaller schools, you'll see that they'll have like the basketball team and other one, certain set sports are in one conference, and then
right. I mean, with sports, yeah, I thought you meant.
I don't think there's a rule stating that they have to be in the same conference.
No. I thought you meant in terms of like Notre Dame being in one conference, and I misunderstood what you said, but. No, and there's actually been some talk that with USC and UCLA leaving, that for basketball, they might bring in St. Mary's and Gonzaga. But for football, they bring in Boise State, San Diego State. Trying to think, what other two schools they talk about bringing in? Utah, no, it's not Utah. Boise, UNLV, Fresno, and San Diego State. Bring those in for football. And then for basketball, bring in St. Mary's and Gonzaga. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but to your point,
St. Mary's and Gonzaga would be huge. The football schools do nothing. That does nothing for the pack, whatever they're going to be.
Well, it does a little bit. It doesn't. It doesn't replace the.
You can't replace USC.
It doesn't replace the brand, but what it does is it replaces the market. So now you still get the LA, you still get a California market, because you get a better, you don't have LA, but you got San Diego, and you bring in Fresno. So if you don't have LA, those are some equitable cities to some degree. And then Boise has a bit of a market in of itself in that reason. And you got the Vegas market, which you bring in ULV. So no, in totality, it doesn't make up for the brand that's lost, but it gets you those markets. And that's kind of what they're trying to do. But again, that's just something.
Just wow.
That's just something out there. I mean, the Pac-12 might get gobbled up by the Big 12. Now the Big 12 is looking a little bit better now, potentially. Now the Big 12 is like, well, hey, Arizona State, hey, Utah, Colorado.
What does Oregon do?
That's a great question. They might join the Big Ten.
I'm shocked that they weren't part of the package.
They didn't need them just yet. They just wanted to do this. Securing LA made the most sense right now, and we'll see what happens after that because they don't have to have Oregon.
Not securing Phil Knight.
That's where I was going to go.
Well, yeah, but when you're the Big Ten, you don't have to have it. You don't have to have it.
Most of your schools is already Nike schools anyway. Probably,
you may find them coming to you saying, "Well, hey, Big Ten, let's make a deal. Let's sit down." Or the Pac-12 might absorb more than Mountain West. I mean, and then Oregon and Utah. I'm not Utah, but Oregon and Washington become, the major recruiting schools in that conference now. And then Phil Knight, Oregon becomes the it team. They become the USC in a sense, as far as being the it team in that, or the it school in that potential conference.
They aren't the it school right now. No.
I mean, in terms of having on-field success, yeah, but USC is a sleeping giant. There's a reason why USC went and got Lincoln Riley. You know what I'm saying? Before the Big 12 or before the Big 10 thing happened, getting Lincoln Riley, all of a sudden USC is that sleeping giant nobody wanted to mess with. Now all of a sudden USC was right back on the map because you saw after Lincoln Riley got there, not only did he bring some of the players that he recruited at Oklahoma with him, he got Addison, the Blitnikoff winner, to leave Pittsburgh and to come out to USC, and they already had other wide receivers there. And he got a couple other notable transfers too. So yeah, USC was still the school. It's like Texas. Texas has been sucking for a long time, but Texas is still Texas. Yeah, Oklahoma was there, but Texas is still Texas. That rivalry isn't the Oklahoma. It's not Bedlam rivalry that moved the Big 12. Bedlam is Oklahoma State. It's a nice rivalry, but the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma, Texas, even when those teams suck, it's still the Red River rivalry. Like Michigan, Ohio State's always going to be Michigan, Ohio State. Alabama's always going to be Alabama, no matter how bad, no matter how many probations, like Kentucky basketball. How many times Kentucky basketball been on probation? It's still Kentucky basketball. So
are they?
Dude, well, my point is, yes, you might have a lull here and there, but it's still Kentucky. Kentucky can bounce back quicker than most anybody else can.
I give you that.
And that's what I mean when I say it's always still going to be that school. Like Michigan hasn't been great for a long time. It's still freaking Michigan. It's still Michigan. It's still that school.
All right. So with the NCAA and all the conferences, the realignment stuff and tinkering with what has been the traditional college landscape, I got a little bit of an idea on where college football should go here in the future. All right.
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
Since everything is being consolidated as it is at this point, I think that there should be a move to 60 Division 1A, you could call it, schools, right? 2 separate conferences, 30 schools apiece. You follow me there?
Yeah, so Power 2 conference is what you're saying.
Yeah, 2 conferences. All right.
Okay. 30 schools each, 15 on each side. Gotcha.
Yep. All right. Then the rest of the current 1A FBS schools in tier 2.
Okay.
So your MAC schools.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did any of these schools have a chance to go from one tier to the other? Or
hold on. You going on,
I'm jumping
here. Hey,
okay.
Jumping here. Hold on. All right.
Let commissioner speak. Let commissioner speak.
Tier 2 has your MAC schools, your Mountain West schools, your Sun Belts, your American Conference.
Okay.
All those in tier 2. All right.
All right.
You have your tier 3, which is the current FCS 1AA. All right. So 3 tiers.
3 tiers. Okay.
3 tiers. All right. You do a playoff in all 3 tiers. The last 2 teams in each conference in tier 1 or tier A, whichever you want to call it, move down. The top 4 teams from tier 2 will move up at the end of the year. So there will be relegation involved and so forth and so on. So relegation in college football.
Like soccer.
Yes. Exactly. Like Premier League soccer.
Okay, it was 131 FBS schools right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how many FCS schools there are. So how, well, that.
Now, mind you, I understand this is a pipe dream because you got schools that are guaranteeing themselves $100 million by being a part of the Big Ten. They're not going to want to relegate themselves at any point.
Right. So one thing you can count on is the greed of the schools and the fact that a lot of these guys don't really like playing with each other. I mean, think about some of these conferences. They poach teams from other conferences. Like, you think the Pac-12 feels good about some of the Big Ten teams? I don't want to work with you. You bastards just took USC and UCLA. You think the Big 12 feels good about the SEC? You bastards just took Texas and Oklahoma. Well, I want to work with you. So yeah, getting everyone to agree on a slice
it's
of the pie.
not going to happen, but if they were smart, and if I were the football czar, which I'm running for that next time it comes up, please support me.
It might come out soon, sooner than you think. There has been talk about trying to have like a body, like an august body of like teams from each conference or someone representing the 10 conferences basically at FBS. Power 5 and the other 5, and having one person kind of be like the commissioner, so to speak. But that might not happen until it comes to a situation where maybe the schools look at the players as employees, and then that changes everything. Because right now the schools can't pay the NIL stuff. That's got to come from outside the school, because the school's still trying to. There's a lot of antitrust stuff that the schools don't want to get caught up in as far as antitrust laws. They lost a couple of these cases with the Alston case and the Sherman Act come into play when it came to the Alston case, and also the O'Bannon case against the NCAA. So, and right now with these conferences, 4 out of the 5 have commissioners who've only been in positions 3 years or less. So you don't have the same type of traditionalists that you might have had before, where things were done for the good of college football. Right now, it's for the good of the conferences. And that's kind of where the focus has been. That's why you see this poaching happening on a large scale, So yeah, getting everybody to play together, that's going to be difficult. Plus you got outside factors like Congress, kind of nosing their names in, and in the courts as well, so, and then the NIL stuff. So college football, it is rapidly changing faster than people can kind of gather and put their head on. But one thing for certain, man, if you don't offer any kind of package or deal that can make a conference better, they're not looking at you. So, if and this is what makes the ACC so potentially problematic and dangerous for themselves and for the college community as a whole, because you got the grant of rights, I think it's called. And basically what that does for in the ACC, all those schools that are there, I think it's up until 2036 before that agreement is done. Basically, any of those schools leave, you can leave, but we keep your media rights.
Really?
Yes. And that's why you don't see anybody poaching the schools from the ACC at this point.
Well, the problem.
So when did that come into play? I'm
not certain when they signed that, but there's still 14 years left of that grant of rights, and also 14 years left with their agreement with ESPN.
Well, I was going to say,
I asked because Maryland, like, do they have their rights, or did they leave before that?
They may have left before that happened. I think
caused it.
Yeah, I think that last foray when schools like when Rutgers and Maryland joined it, And I think that's probably, I think Maryland might have left before that happened. Yeah.
I thought I read somewhere ESPN is trying to get out of their ACC deal.
They may be trying to, but that grant of rights and the contract's a contract. So they're going to have to offer something.
Because you think about the ACC, the only major media market in the ACC is Atlanta.
No, you still
and
got
Miami.
You still got Boston.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah,
And you still got Pittsburgh. I mean, you got Pittsburgh/Philly. You got Pitt. You got Miami. You got Atlanta. You got Boston. You got Raleigh, Durham.
that's not a major market.
No, okay.
I'm talking top 20 market. Boston,
Okay.
Miami,
Okay, Boston, Miami, Atlanta,
yeah.
and Philly to some degree because you got Pitt. I know Pittsburgh and Philadelphia aren't the same, but I'm just saying you're in the state of Pennsylvania, so you might regionally you might be close.
No, those are different. Those are different markets.
I was trying to help them out.
Yeah.
but yeah, so in Notre Dame, and the reason why Notre Dame is so interesting in a way, and why Notre Dame doesn't have to make a move just yet, and they can kind of sit back and kind of wait and see where they want to go or who comes to them with a really good deal, is that Notre Dame has a $13 billion endowment. So they're good. That has nothing to do with the TV contracts. They just get $13 billion like every year. So
long story short, the GM has just said that my idea is ridiculous. Thank you.
It's not ridiculous.
Thank
When the new NCAA football game comes out, I think we will implement your idea.
That's what I'm talking about. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. We got, by the way, one more year to go. By the way,
yeah, next spring, right?
I'm excited. Next summer.
Next summer.
Yeah, next summer. Yeah. Next summer. I'm excited about that. All right, let's move on. Final topic. Let's talk a little baseball here. We're at the All-Star break, and your New York Yankees smoke look like they're running away with this thing, man.
We gonna be. I'm gonna just wait to see what happens in the end.
Come on, man. Stop being humble, man.
Exactly. False modesty here.
But yeah, we kicking ass.
Thank you.
You know, we kicking ass. But hey, I'm consistent. It don't mean nothing until we finish the deal.
So it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
It's how you finish. But I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah, looking good. 13 games up on the Rays. And but by the way,
hell of a division.
Those Baltimore Orioles.
Crazy. That is crazy.
Hell of
that
a
division.
I've never seen baseball have a division like that ever. Not at the break where every team is 500 or better. I've never seen that. With
that
many
is
teams.
Crazy. That is wild to me.
Remember the NL Central a couple years now, they had the bottom was bad, but three teams won close to 100 games.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying there hasn't been some divisions where you've seen some teams.
But that was the case with the AL East last year, though.
Right, because you had the Rays, Toronto, and the Yankees.
Yeah.
No, not Toronto. Toronto didn't make it last year.
No, but I mean, as far as being,
it was Boston because Boston beat us in a wild card.
Oh, Boston made it. Okay. Well, yeah, but Toronto was right there.
Toronto was right there.
Right. But now for Baltimore, man, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Good for this about time.
Yeah, and they had number one pick yesterday too, right? The Baltimore.
Did they had a number one pick? I know Matt Holliday's son went number one. I didn't know Baltimore.
Yeah, he went to the Orioles.
Okay.
Yeah.
You 46 and 46, and you got the number one pick. Things are looking good. Yeah. And you got a prodigy and a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Holliday.
And you had four former major leaguers' sons were drafted in the first round.
Yep.
One being Chicago native Lou Collier. Cam Collier was drafted number 18 overall to the Cincinnati Reds. But yeah, It's crazy. And I mean, I'm probably ranting right now, but 4 of the first 5 picks, or 5 of the first 6 picks, were all African American.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't
It's
realize
either
that.
4 of the first 5 or 5 of the first 6.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Outside of Matt Holliday's son,
You.
it's Drew.
Well, you know
Andrew
what? I
Jones.
can't say. Yeah, Andrew Jones' son is. I guess that's more minority, not African American.
Right.
Because Andrew Jones is African American. But then you had Kumar Rocker, Termar Johnson,
Right.
and Elijah Green. They're all African American.
Yeah, that's pretty good, man.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. So yeah, Yankees way out in front in the East. It looks like our White Sox have picked things up. They're back to 500 and only 3 games back. They're in striking distance.
Well, definitely in striking distance. And speaking of like, it's not how you start, how you finish. They definitely started really crappily, but they finished the first half a lot stronger. And no, they took it to Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota got that one game, but it wasn't like the other ones were really that close. And the White Sox whooped that ass last night or day before, yesterday, I should say, on Sunday. And Dylan Cease, Cease explained to me why he's not the All-Star game. I can't understand it. You lead the league in strikeouts and you have a sub-3 ERA and you're not in the All-Star game? When does that happen? And you need to play in a market like Chicago? Since when does that happen? But anyway, that's fine. Rest your arm, take the break. Don't worry about it. But he definitely showed it because the White Sox, I thought it was important they came back and won that game the way they won it decisively yesterday, because it was like, to win the first 2 like they did and lose one, you're like, okay, if they were to just break even, you not that you lose the momentum, but you don't have the same kind of steam behind it like you would have, or like they have now. I think they got some steam behind it now, because it's like we took it to the team that's leading our division and they scored like what, 41 runs, I guess, or something like that over the weekend. So they average about 10 runs a game in a 4-game series. Man, that's impressive, man. And they're still not completely healthy, but you can tell that this team is feeling more confident about how they want to go about approaching the rest of the season. And I think those guys who were a little bit nicked up will come back. Did anybody hear what was going on with Robert?
I don't think they've really said anything.
Because this is what I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's not vertigo. Why do I say that? Because he mentioned lightheadedness, and the way he came at the ball when it was hit to him, he seemed, because he's a Gold Glove outfielder. The way he came at it, it wasn't like he got there late. It's like he couldn't quite get a read where the ball was, and it seemed awkward. And then
when he turned around, it seemed like he was just out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next day he didn't play. That was Saturday. That was happening on Friday night. Saturday he didn't play, and they said they were still doing testing, and they just said lightheadedness. Now, I personally suffer from vertigo. I've got like a more acute form of it, and it's like an inner ear thing for those of you who don't know. And it's like your inner ear is equilibrium dissonance that's not quite where it needs to be at times. And sometimes the weather, like the barometric pressure, can affect it. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is that I've been struggling with it a little bit today, the last week or so. I know enough to kind of keep it from getting a hold of me, but the weather's been it's not about it being hot or cold, it's about the pressure. And the weather here has been a little unusual, unseasonably cool for July. And Midwest weather, sometimes regionally, it happens kind of similarly. So I'm wondering if he has a little bit of that could be the case potentially, and they're trying to figure it out and they don't know quite what it is. And if he's never had it, he's like, I don't know, I just feel dizzy, I feel lightheaded. That's kind of what you say. I don't know, I feel dizzy, I feel lightheaded, I don't know what it is. So I'm hoping that's not the case. And if it is, sometimes it can be a mild case, sometimes they can figure it out and you'll be fine. I just don't want it to develop, because Jamal Mashburn ended up retiring because he could never. He had like a vertigo that was affecting him. It was called a vertical vertigo that was affecting him. He ended up retiring early. So I hope it doesn't. This is mass speculation, everybody, but just kind of going off of the way he came at the ball. I know what I've gone through, and I know how sometimes the weather can be a playing factor in it. And it didn't really hit me until I got into my 20s. He's in his 20s. So hopefully that's not the case. But outside of that, because every time the White Sox seems to be doing good, somebody gets hurt.
Somebody's gone. Yeah, whether it's Eloy, Yasmani Grandal, who should be back after the break here. He looked good in his rehab stint in Birmingham and in Charlotte, so he should be back. And
everybody. But
is Mendick going to be back?
No. But I'm just saying, every time someone starts to do well, gets into the rhythm, all of a sudden, something happens. So hopefully that's not the case. But we can't cry because the Tampa Bay Rays, they got like about 20 guys on IL and they're still playing.
Damn.
Yeah, they're still playing hard. So, ain't nobody gonna cry for us. Especially not no Yankee fans. Ain't that right? Ain't that right, B?
You right. Because y'all division, we got 4 teams that'll probably be leading that division.
Wow, really? Is that what we're doing now? So that's how we gonna handle this.
Hey, you only play the cards that are dealt to you, man.
Nice rabbit punching.
That's true. That's true.
Only play the cards that are dealt to you. Hey, we got a homework assignment. The Captain 30 for 30 premieres tonight. Episode it's 7 episodes, right?
7-part. 7 part.
Oh yeah, he's got 7
or 8-part.
Right?
See, 7-part or 8-part, 5.
You said the Captain. We're talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
We're talking about Derek Jeter.
Number two. So yeah. So we can watch that. We're gonna give our critique of it next time we talk, of at least the first two episodes that are shown.
Are they showing the first 2 tonight?
I think.
Or just 1. Okay.
Wait, is it gonna be 7 weeks?
I think they skip over the Miami fiasco. The years in Miami, I think they skip over that fiasco. The Miami years.
Wait, let me pull it up here on the preview guide. Hold on,
GM.
Yeah, as a GM. I'm doing my little digs.
I mean, as the owner.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, wait, the home run derby went long, so I can't see it on here.
Yeah, because I got it going on stream.
Oh, here we go. The Captain episodes. Oh, they only giving us 1 episode here. So yeah, it's going to be each week. Oh, no. I'm sorry. No. Thursday is episode 2. And then the 28th will be episodes 3 and 4.
All right. So there
you go. All right. So yeah, we'll have a big chunk of it that we can talk about when we come back. All right. But that'll do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. Thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch us on Apple. Man, it's been a long time since I did this. Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast, as well as the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs, and the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson. Yo, Glenn.
What up?
Please take us out.
Hey, like we always say, we ain't saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
We'll catch you next week.
Catch you next week.